Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. We're back. Might be a day late for the CSGO Antwerp Major, but we are back. It is the PGL Major in Antwerp, and I am joined by my co-host Dan Welch. Dan, we said it would be back for these Tier 1 events, and we have a major Tier 1 event. It is the first of two Counter-Strike Majors this year. Mr. Dan, what is up?
Oh, not too much, Adam. You know, same old, same old. Still feeding the baby and bathing the baby every night, and life is good.
I like it. So, folks, I'm going to again apologize in advance. I've been trying to get my OBS to work better, and I am working with a temporary microphone. So I apologize in advance about the somewhat bad sound quality, if there is any, out of my end. Dan sounds great. Mine is, I'm working on it. I'm still working on it, and I apologize. So, now that we got that out of the way with Dan, we have a 3-game slate here on Draftkings. And I guess there's one thing we should probably, or at least I can try probably explaining better. I'm over here on hltv.org. And for those that aren't familiar with the Antwerp setup, go on to hltv.org. I'm sure they can do a much better job than I'm going to explain it. But the easiest way I could explain this, Dan, is I believe you need 3 wins to advance to the Legend stage. So what we saw today were a lot of best-of-1 matches because we had everyone on an even playing field of 0-0. So your 1-0 teams, I believe, went on to face the 1-0 teams, right? So like if we look at this morning, we had Team Vitality crush Complexity. My goodness, they got 1 round out of them. I didn't realize that. So Team Vitality went on to face Astralis, who also won over IHC. So Team Vitality went on to face IHC. You had a 1-0 team versus a 1-0 team. So now you get Team Vitality that's a 2-0 team. And you take a look at tomorrow's matches, they're going on to face Forze. So Forze, however you want to say it, beat Renegades 16-9. And then after that, Forze went on to beat the Bad News Eagles 16-7. So now you have a fight for one of the first legend spots of the Major. You have the 2-0 Team Vitality versus the 2-0 Forze. So just because you lose, let's just say Forze loses, just because they're losing doesn't mean anything. Because they'll just be 2-1. Team Vitality will be 3-0, and off they go. But Forze will still have a chance. They'll be the time to take on the next 2-1 team. On the flip side, you've got Renegades versus IHC here, which is going to be the first game on our DraftKings slate. Both of these teams are 0-2. The winner of this goes on to face the next 1-2 team, while the loser is eliminated from this major. So, and if all of you are playing the viewer pass game on the actual Counter-Strike game, and probably like a good chunk of us picked IHC to go 0-3 and had a massive sweat today. Because we're recording this on Monday, May 9th. This is for May 10th. But, yeah, that Complexity IHC game, it didn't look pretty at halftime, Dad. I was sweating. It didn't look pretty towards the end of the game. I was sweating. I'm like, okay, I really need IHC. No disrespect to them. I need them to go 0-3 because I don't know if I can trust my Ents 3-0 pick. Because Enstru G2, who have been playing out of their mind.
It's easy for Ents.
I think Ents do beat them. Like I have G2 advancing, but I thought they would advance 2-1. Right, like G2 has had this history, and you and I have talked about this in the podcast before. They can have amazing games where it seems like they can't be stopped, and then it has games where they just, for whatever reason, struggle, falter, and then end up losing. Right, like we've seen this with G2 before. This Ents team looks dominant. They look like a major contender right now to win this major.
Especially on land.
Major contender to win the major. That sounded way better in my head. I was going for something completely different. A favorite to win this major. I mean,
they're a contender.
We didn't have a chance there with yesterday being Mother's Day, which was when we would have had to record it. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to our mothers. Belated Mother's Day since we're recording this on Monday night. But
and my beautiful wife.
That's right, and his beautiful wife with the new baby there. So He's such a cutie, by the way. Like,
Isn't he?
Dan and his wife are awesome, and the baby is so cute and adorable.
He came
Like,
out
they're
so good.
all awesome people. So now that I've boosted Dan's
Aw.
ego enough,
Exactly.
he's gonna go now take down the 3K tomorrow. So,
I'll
but
share it with you.
jeez, thank you for the 1 penny. Hey, it's one more penny I had going into the day. So, just saying.
0.03% split.
0.03%. I think I'm at least worth 0.04%. All right.
That'd be a penny at 1.2 pennies.
All right. So I'm only kidding. So just to give everyone a quick update, I picked again. If you're playing on the actual Counter-Strike Global Offensive game, and you bought the viewer pass for this major, you had a chance to make your picks. Well, I'll tell you mine. I have Ents going 3-0, and I have Ents going 3-0. I have IHC going 0-3. The 7 teams I have advancing, in no particular order. Team Vitality, I'm just going right down the list here. I'm trying to picture in my head. So I got Outsiders, Imperial, Vitality, G2, Astralis. I went with Team Liquid and Forze, so I'm feeling confident in at least 4 of them. I am not feeling as confident right now in my IHC pick at all. And I don't feel confident in beating G2. So there's going to be a sweat, not only for money tomorrow on Draftkings and Prize Picks, there's going to be a sweat when it comes to that diamond coin. Because Team Liquid, I would not anticipate Team Liquid would be starting out 0-2. I mean, granted, they went up against G2 first. Okay, 0-1. But you lost to Imperial 10-16, and I got a chance to watch some of that game. Oh, damn, that was brutal. Team Liquid looked lost. They looked confused. I don't know what they were doing. They were outplayed by Imperial royally.
Americans suck. Just the way it is.
I don't know. Furia looks dominant.
They're not American. Well, they're South Americans. So yeah, United States of Americans.
We'll leave the we need to rebuild, NACSGO for another podcast. But
Yeah.
So we're taking us a little bit of time to talk about the major. I think this is FaZe's major to lose. They are coming in as the number 1 ranked team once we get to the Legend stage. They are going to mean business. Carrigan's probably looking at this major and the next major, maybe as the last 2, depending how this team works out. They have been the best team in the world. Na'Vi have been faltering recently. Heroic got destroyed by Ents at Blast. Look, you all know I'm a Heroic fan. They're my team, and Ents just outplayed us. They countered our aggro strats and all that stuff. So, I mean, this is a major that G2 could win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had to put up there for favorites to win, like the ones I think are going to win, I think it comes down to a couple of teams. FaZe being the favorite, probably Na'Vi second. I'd actually pick Ents third. I'd probably go Heroic fourth over Cloud9. So for those of you that don't know, we had a major organization come back into Counter-Strike in Cloud9. They are now the former Gambit / former players roster. So Cloud9, when you see them in this major, it's the former Gambit roster. Or the former players roster, however you know them as.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't, they've all been together. This will be the first time we're really seeing them as a team under the Cloud9 banner. And I don't know how that's going to look.
Well, they're already in the Legend stage, so.
Right, again, we'll get to Legend stage when we get there, but, out of these teams in the Challenger stage, Vitality, Ents, and G2, maybe Astralis. I don't see anyone else really making it to the playoffs. With all due respect to the other teams. But it is what it is. Dan, we got a couple of best of ones tomorrow morning, and we got multiple best of threes. Excuse me, which leads me into the Draftkings slate. So we got 3 best of threes on here. Just so you all know, if you're playing on DraftKings, the 3-game main slate are all best of threes. And it's not like today's not like the Monday 6-game slate that were all best of ones. This is a best of 3 main slate. IHC versus Renegades is a best of 3. G2 versus Ents is a best of 3. 9Z versus Team Liquid, best of 3. I just want to make sure that's clear for everyone that knows you're playing on a best of 3 slate. We're going to get out of our best of 1 strategy and get into the normal best of 3 strategy. Dan, before we get started on DraftKings, is there anything you want to talk about here regarding the Major?
No, I'm pumped, man. This is good. Good time to be alive.
You could have given me a little bit more there, Dan. I was taking a drink of some iced tea over here.
I thought you were going to say something else, but I won't go there.
I mean, I do not have an alcoholic beverage in front of me. I am old enough to have said alcoholic beverage, but I do not have an alcoholic beverage in front of me.
No, Adam, everybody knows how much we love CSGO, so there's no reason
It's amazing. So let's just get into the first little bit of this podcast is going to be just a little bit of Dan Lightis talking about the Major. Who do you think is your favorite to win the Major?
Ents.
Over FaZe and over Navi?
Yep.
I like it. I mean, they've been looking great. I mean, we take a look at their 2-0s. 16-7 over 9Z. And they smoked the Outsiders on Vertigo 16-6. With some pretty amazing clutches, too. Like rounds the Outsiders should have never lost. They pulled it out of their you-know-whats.
Mm-hmm.
So they look really good right now. But
Hades
so don't G2.
Hades had a 1v3, and I think Spinks had Snappy had like a...
Snappy had a pit. I think it was an ace.
Yeah, Snappy's really good. He's Danish, too, so...
Yeah, I mean, Snappy's really good. Now, look. It's Ents versus G2, and we'll get into it, but this 19-17 is insane. If we go to the match page, and you actually want to break this down... Wait, where's my breakdown?
Come on, get your shit together.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Podcast.
I want to go over the round history. Because you had G2, who looked great on Dust 2, on the CT side. They were up at the half. So, Dan, keep this in mind. At the half, G2 was up 11-4.
Mm-hmm.
They then won the next 3. So you're at 14-4. Then Spirit won the next 4. Then G2 got their 15th round. So you have what? 7 rounds, 7 map points. And they couldn't close it. They couldn't close it. Dan, you and I talked about this pre-show. We've been talking about this. G2 has this habit, and I don't want to call it a habit. This is just something that happens with them. I don't know why.
They choke.
Where do they go? You're up 14-4. Where do you go? It's like they just disappeared. I wouldn't call it a choke, but it's like, what happened? Now, G2 ended up winning 19-17. But again, look at overtime. And for those of you watching us on YouTube and not listening, you can do it however you want. You want to watch, you want to listen, you can do both. Team Spirit had a 17-16 advantage heading into the second half of overtime. Come on, G2. I know it's Dust 2, but it's a fairly even-sided map. This just shows it was a very CT-sided map.
I think they're number one. Don't they pick Dust 2?
And G2 likes Mirage.
Mirage, yeah.
So, I mean, again, I'm not faulting anybody here, But I this just kind of prefaces the Ents versus G2 game that Dan and I are going to talk about on DraftKings. This is why I have Ents going 3-0 and G2 going 3-1. Right? Like, I had them winning, but I had them taking a loss. Because of something like this. Because of something like this game against Team Spirit. G2 should have never let this happen. Not that they wanted to. But just, it happens. It's a video game.
That it is.
So, I mean, so you have Ents winning. If you were to pick a top 4 right now, Dan, right? If you're picking a top 4 of any of the teams competing in this major, who are your top 4? We know Ents is your winner, so give us the next 3.
I'm sorry, of the entire major?
Of the entire major. You have Ents winning the major. Of all the teams in the major, who would be like the next 3? So who are your top 4?
FaZe, Vitality, and I guess I have to say Navi.
Yeah, I mean, they won the last major, but again, we knew they were the best team going into that major.
Yeah, but there's been something up. I mean, obviously, I don't. Who knows how much they're actually playing, but.
And again, with world events, we don't know how much this is affecting them too.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say anybody else. Maybe Astralis.
You could see Astralis, Heroic, Furia,
Yep.
Cloud9.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's weird to say Cloud9 because it's essentially Gambit, but
right. But like, it is weird to say, but I do think that we have to get in that realm of. This is why I said this is. I think it's FaZe's major to lose.
Yeah, I understand that sentiment. No, I really like Ents right now, and
they've looked amazing.
I think Vitality has the ingredients, and maybe now is when it the cake comes out of the oven.
I mean, this would be a great time to do that. So, anything else you want to talk about with the major itself, Dan, before we get into the DraftKings slate?
No, I can't wait till the legend stage, though.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. All right, Dan, let's get into it. This is our 3-game DraftKings slate today. Again, we got IHC versus Renegades, G2 versus Ents, and 9Z versus Team Liquid. Let's get into it, Mr. Dan. You can follow Dan on Twitter at Wandelch, WANDELCH. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamWX21. Mr. Dan, are you ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. IHC versus Renegades. This line is interesting. Per Pinnacle betting odds, I'm going to refresh them here real quick. IHC are favored in this match. They're a minus 137 favorite. Renegades a plus 113. I already let you all know I have IHC going 0-3 in my picks. So, I'm just saying that now. You can say there's bias in my Renegades and Team Liquid picks that I'm going to have here. You can have all the bias you want. I'm totally okay with that. So, Dan, let's get into it. IHC versus Renegades. Score is 9,200. Blitz 8,000. Cabal is 7,000. Niners 5,800. The Opera for IHC. Techno 5,200. And for those that actually were watching the stream, as Techno 4K. So, I like the grit I saw from IHC versus Complexity today, Dan. Do you have any interest in the IHC side of things on this slate?
Yeah, I think Score and Techno are the two.
Okay, so you are loving the value of Techno 4K at 5,200.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's almost he's going to be super chalky because everyone remembers the recent stomping of Renegades, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah. I mean, at
like
least
mega chalk.
I can see IHC actually winning this game, And when I saw who IHC got paired up with, I'm like, my 0-3 is not looking too good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Adam.
Again,
so you can make up for it by winning on Draftkings.
I plan on it. You know how I plan on winning is I'm playing Renegades.
Oh my god.
And again, if we're looking at the Pinnacle betting odds, how are we going to get different on a 3-game slate? Ensign G2, well, there's no underdog there. Ensign's a minus 118 favorite. G2's a minus 103 favorite. There's no underdog there. If you want to try 9Z at plus 272 as an underdog, fine. Liquid at minus 351 should win this match. Digit and Max are 9Z's two best players, and Team Liquid has Elysian Naf and OC.
9Z, isn't Lucan on?
Lucan is on 9Z. We'll get to that in a bit. But
Lucan's good.
On the Renegade side of things, INS is 8,400, Liaz 7,400, Seiko is 6,600, Alistar is 6,200, Hats 5,400. I think this is really anyone's game. I would lean the slight favorites in. I would agree after what I saw from IHC versus Complexity today that I think IHC's got a much better chance. So, but again, we have to get different, Dan. If IHC is going to be chalk, we got to pivot.
Go with the Renegades.
We got to pivot. Unless you want to take the ultimate underdog on this slate in 9Z versus Team Liquid, which with the way Team Liquid's been looking, I think is actually not that crazy.
I think more people play 9Z over Renegades, honestly.
I can also see that. Again, you take the bigger underdog or whatever else. So, also I want to let... be very careful on these times here, everyone. Just please keep that in mind. These times are a little off on DraftKings. If you take a look at the matches here on HLTV... All right, go back to matches. The actual... so you have Renegades versus IHC as a best of 3. That's at 8:30. So that's, somewhat correct. But these next two sets of matches, G2 Ents and 9Z versus Team Liquid, aren't scheduled until 12:15. So just keep that in mind. Again, these are all best of 3s. So if this goes 3, these games are getting pushed back. Right. But regardless, so if you don't see points accruing at 10 a.m., the game may have not started yet. So... on the Renegade side of things, I really like INS for this slate. I think INS probably goes really under-owned. And then I'm stuck with who to go with next. Dan was talking me off of Seiko pre-show.
Yeah, don't go. I'm sorry.
Are you going to continue to talk me off Seiko here, and now please tell me why?
Well, he was the Opper, and he was basically replaced by Alistair not too long ago. So he's playing a different role, and he's just, I don't know, I never really liked him as the Opper either.
That's fair.
I think he's getting a little bit past his prime. I don't know how he's in his 30s. Just a little back of the napkin analysis. Nothing crazy.
I got you.
I don't think his stats are that good either, but I like Hats. I like INS. I like Alistair because he's the Opper. And they definitely can beat this team. Like there's one, easily beat this team.
Right. So I mean, it's like
recent history would say otherwise.
I'm stuck right now between Liaz and Alistair, and I think it might just come down to how much salary I got left. I kind of slightly lean toward Alistair and just like this, like if you played on Monday slate, well, he wasn't on the winning lineup. Patsy absolutely crushed. And it's like, really?
Well, Patsy's good. I mean,
right, but it's like, I think he had like 20 plus frags and like single digits in deaths. Like 20 plus frags is insane. And as I was annoying Dan today during the yes, I was, and that's totally fine with me. It was the Forze matchup. Norway, who had 28 frags. He had more frags. He was the first one in double digits. None of the rest of his team had anywhere near double-digit frags. I thought he was going to drop 40 with the way he was playing. Yeah, he was just going nuts. So, and then I'm like, I'm so happy that wasn't an actual slate on DraftKings, because I don't think I would have had anywhere near Norway. But anyway, for me on this game, it's probably a matter of what fits. As I think the next game we're going to talk about is what matters for determining the slate. You ready to get on to the next game?
Ready.
The blockbuster game of the day. The game that we're going to be watching. Get your popcorn out. Get your lazy boys out. That's right, for you young people, lazy boys, that's a recliner. I'm not that old either, but I don't know, it's just like the thing to say. G2 versus Ents, this is the banger match of the day.
And it's perfect, it's right at lunchtime, so I can actually, I don't have to pretend like I'm doing.
Does that mean I can annoy you during your lunch break?
Maybe.
Excellent.
I'll let you know.
Excellent. Well, Dan, let's talk about the G2 side of things first here. Nico, 8,600. Hunter, 7,600. Monacy, the Opper, 6,800. Jax is 6,000. And Alexi B, 5,000. Alexi B is the IGL for G2. Any interest here? Actually, I'm just going to go over the end side of things, too, because I think we're just going to continue our conversation from earlier. Spinks, this is the I get a land buff Spinks player here. Spink, he's just so freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
$8,800 for Spinks. Hades is 7,800. Deha 6,800. Madden is 6,000. Snappy 4,800. Dan, how the F are we approaching this game? Because I think this game and getting this game right, I think is going to be the most important.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could take one of two roads, and that would be avoiding it, because it's going to be low scoring for DFS purposes, and the other two games could be landslides on one side or the other. Or take the stance that one or two players on either side may hit their ceiling, because it goes the distance. And for me, that would either be Spinks or Nico, or both. And I think they're both affordable enough to play. And that makes you different when you have two opposing players on the same team.
So you're actually considering playing just the two best players from the game?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a way to get different.
Yeah. I mean, I think people are getting a little bit hip to that strategy too, so it's not super unique, but it will be.
Well, again, like, more people are going to go with the correlation of, 3-game slate, you're going to get 2 from one game, 2 from another, 2 from another, and you don't play the opposing team. Because it's very tough to pull off. Can it happen? Of course. Can Spinks and Nico be the two highest scoring players from this game? Yes. Mm-hmm. You're playing a likelihood. It's not as likely as if I were to say Spinks and Hades are the top two scorers, or Spinks and Deha, with the way those two look today. Looked incredible. If you were to tell me Snappy goes off and has 60 DraftKings points at 4,800, could probably outdo Nico at 8,600 for 70 DraftKings points.
Yeah, I mean, Snappy's definitely a good play for 4,800, because they're probably going to get. He's like a nuke expert. I don't know what the right word is.
I'd be very curious to see what maps we're going to see in this. Let's just go here real quick.
Mirage and nuke for sure.
I mean, did we really? Mirage definitely G2.
Yeah.
So let's see. These guys. Hence play a lot of maps. So we're going to get Inferno banned. We're going to get Overpass banned. Because neither of these two teams play it. So Ents will ban Inferno. G2 will ban Overpass. 87% win rate for Ents on Nuke. It's their best map.
Yeah, they're gonna play. They'll pick Nuke. I don't think that G2 would ban it.
So we have.
I didn't even look. What are they?
Here's the thing with Mirage, though. I don't want to play Mirage against Ents. They're a great Mirage team, despite their 57% win percentage. 23 maps they've played. That's their most played map is Mirage.
Ents' map pool is deep.
It is. Like, if G2 throws a curveball and picks Ancient, I think that's interesting. Now, if G2's watching tape, I don't know if I want to risk playing Ents on Vertigo after what we saw versus Outsiders today.
Oh yeah, they look super good on the T side too. It's like, but it is. Oh, Vertigo is a bit T sided, isn't it?
It is. It's I think like the only real T sided map in the game.
It's left.
So it'll be really interesting to see what maps we get. I could see Ancient as a decider. I could see it being picked. I think it's really interesting, but for me, my core play on this slate is Sphinx.
Yeah.
I'm not getting cute. My core play is Sphinx.
You could get Dust too.
We could.
That'd be great. Actually, Monacy would be great if that was a case.
So I'm playing Ents. I want to play Ents.
Monacy might be a really good play.
He's 6,800. He's a great play at that price. When was the last time we've seen Monacy under 7,000?
It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. So I'm going to come out and say this. All 10 players from this game are in play. And that's not a cop-out. If you would... My least favorite are Jax and Alexi B.
Yeah, Jax over Alexi B.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, good.
But all 10 players are in play.
Yeah, sure.
I really like Snappy at 4,800.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets me 55 DK points, and I can get another higher player, like an Inns, or an Elige, or a Digit, or someone else, I really like... I just feel like this is a great snappy spot.
It is, and then so what is what is the alternative? Techno or hats?
Yeah, excuse me, we're not playing hats.
No, but he could be a good play.
Maybe. All right. Anything else we're talking about with this game? We're gonna go into the last game of the slate here.
Yeah, I was literally just talking about the alternative plays over Snappy. I think that.
Notice how much I don't want you to talk about alternative players over Snappy.
Why? Oh, okay. All right, because you love Snappy.
Well, like, if we just look real quick, like, if you want to take... And we could save this for the value portion of the show, too. If you just take everyone 6,000 and below, that's Madden, Jax, Niner, Max, Hats, Techno 4K, Alexi B, Snappy, David, and Rocks. Of that pool, Madden sticks out, Snappy sticks out, Techno sticks out, Niner sticks out.
I think Snappy will be more popular than Madden, which makes me like Madden. Madden's been great lately.
Agreed. He's been solid in this major, though. Out of the 2 matches I saw with him, he's just been like that, almost like a cash game play. Like, you want that like safe play.
Oh, he gets one every time. Every round he gets one. But when he goes off, he goes off.
Agreed. There's a lot of good value down here. Dan, let's revisit this under 6K when we get to our value portion. There's a lot of good plays down here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the last game then. Unless there's something else to talk about.
Nope.
All right. This last game I think is going to be relatively quick. It's 9Z versus Team Liquid. As I already told you guys, Team Liquid's a minus 351 favorite. 9Z a plus 207. Yeah, 9Z is a plus 272 underdog. That's incredible. Team Liquid minus 251, 9Z plus 272. I just accidentally closed out of the tab. Whoopsie. There we go. Sorry, buddy. Here we go. Kind of no surprise that Elige, Naf, and OC are the highest priced players in this game. That's kind of no surprise, right? Elige 9,800, Naf Fly 9,000, OC 8,200.
No surprise.
Here's the surprise: Nitro $7,200.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some good matches. But,
Agreed. But Digit at 6,600 is their best player. That's 9Z's best player since Tri left.
Right.
This does not make sense to me. Why he's less expensive of a Nitro. With all due respect to Nitro. I just think like maybe you swap those, but I understand why DraftKings did it. Nitro's better than Digit. If I'm playing 9Z, I think I'm sticking with Digit and Max. Like, those would be the two I would play if I were to go with 9Z.
Yeah, Lucan's good. I don't know what their map pool is. Most likely Inferno, so yeah.
We could take a look. So if we go to Liquid and 9Z, it looks like their most played map is Mirage at 12 maps. And Inferno is their least win rate at 29% with 7 maps played. It's actually Team Liquid's least percentage win map as well. So I think we're going to see Mirage picked from either Team Liquid or 9Z. I think we see Ancient here. And I also think we see Overpass. I think is really, really interesting. So this is an interesting map pool. Thoughts?
Sorry, I was just looking at the basketball game. No, I don't have any.
Are we winning or losing, Dan?
But I think the Brazilians are good in general. I think they're like the next.
Are we winning or losing, Dan?
What do you mean? Are we? What?
Dan and I are both Celtics fans. Are we winning or losing against the Bucks right now?
Losing.
By how much?
10. Tatum's a bum.
He's been in a slump. He's not shooting good right now.
Scorer my ass.
You clearly didn't see in the regular season. Anyway, off NBA, back to CSGO. I think the map pool is going to be really interesting. I think it's Mirage, Overpass, and Ancient. I could also see Dust 2 in here as well. So, like I said, it's Digit and Max for me. I don't mind playing Lucan. What is Lucan's stats anyway?
He's good.
All matches last 3 months. The Lucans are better than Max, so yeah. Digit, Lucan, and Max. I'm not playing David, and I'm not playing Rox.
No.
So, yeah, I'm fine with that. If you want to play Lucan just based on the stats, that's fine. I just think Max shows up here. So I'm fine with any of that. Again, all depends on when you get to fit. Right? So, like, if you're playing 9Z, you can probably go IHC and answer G2. Like, you're not going to need the value. So, anyway, Mr. Dan.
Yes.
What are you doing with Shocks?
Oh my god.
That's why I'm asking you, like, what are you doing with Shocks here?
Not fading? I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, definitely not in a cash game or a single entry, but maybe like 10%, 1 out of 10 lineups. Maybe even 1 out of 20. I think he's going to be super low owned.
He's been struggling since he joined Team Liquid.
Yeah. That was a mistake. They should have kept Grimm. I mean, it can't be more expensive than Grimm. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, my friend.
There must be a strategic reason. That's the
I
only thing
don't
I
know.
can
I
think of.
mean, I hope Sharks finds his way. I think he's a really good player. I think he just hasn't found his spots yet to really start thriving.
Yeah.
So I played Nitro over Sharks personally on the slate.
Yeah,
I can't believe
definitely.
I'm saying that. But again, I'm not fading Sharks by any means. I just wouldn't go overweight on him.
Yeah, I mean,
There's nothing in like if you watch his gameplay and you look at the stats, I don't think there's anything in Sharks' gameplay that inspires confidence right now.
he could win you the. I mean, he could win you 3,000 too. You know,
Agreed. Like I'm just gonna go to the stats here real quick. All stats for Team Liquid over the last month of play. The last 3 months. Has he been there for 3 months? He has. Okay. Sharks is minus 81. He's got a .89 kill to death ratio with a .96 2.0 rating
yeah, it's not good.
in 43 maps.
No bueno, son.
No, not at all. And again, no disrespect to shots. It's just that's not what we would expect to see from him. All right. Well, let's sum this podcast up here. Put a bow on this thing. Dan, anything else to talk about 9Z or Team Liquid, or are we gonna move on?
No, I'm gonna pull for the. Put a plug in for the Brazilians. I think that
9Z's good.
Yeah, I just think in general Brazil is like up and coming.
They've always been strong. They've had a couple of down years with, the likes of Fallen and Fur and Taco. We're getting up there in age. They weren't exactly hitting the peak like they were before. Cold Zero was on phase. Like they have a really good pool, and they have a lot of dedicated, passionate fans down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I think it's a country to look out for.
Yep,
So.
Brazilian teams are awesome.
And I
Dan,
guess Argentinian as well.
the Argentinian absolute up and comer.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, let's get into it. All games here. Core value, GPP, and favorite team stack segment. Mr. Dan, who's your core play? I think you and I think I would have to think, you and I have the same core play.
Spinks.
It's Spinks. Now,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, we're going to revisit this here. All players under 6,000. Madden, Jax, Niner, Max, Hats, Techno 4K, Alexi B, Snappy, David, and Rox. These are just players under 6,000.
Yeah. Sorry, I was about to.
No, go ahead.
Madden and Snappy would be my two.
I would agree. I'll go just different for the viewers. I would go Niner and Max. Oh. And I'll give you a bonus, Alexi B.
Okay.
I really liked some of the stuff I saw from Niner today. So, I mean, I just...
You're not going to explain it? It's a gut
I don't know.
Call.
I liked more what I saw in certain instances versus complexity. I think there's something there as a player to be developed. For sure.
I like that.
So I think the talent's there. He needs refinement at the tier 1 level, but there's the instincts for him as an opera are there.
Okay.
Now, we don't typically limit our value players to just under 6,000. But, Dan, I just think it was kind of interesting how many good names are under 6,000. I kind of think, just for the purposes of this segment, limiting value onto 6,000 for this podcast only, but how many players were down there, I think is just more beneficial.
It makes sense.
Yep. Now, let's talk about GPP plays. They're all over the place. Give us two.
Hades, maybe? And then, Liaz.
How about a third?
Shocks.
I'm sorry I asked to give you a third.
I know. It's just, I think that I wouldn't do too much of it, but he could go crazy.
He's the definition of a GPP play.
Right? He's a clutch guy too. So
Mm-hmm. I like Liaz as a GPP play. I'm gonna go Diha as a GPP play and
okay.
Mondesi. I think the obvious Elysian, Naf, and Nico, those kind of all speak for themselves.
Yep.
But yeah, I think like I want to play Mondesi today, and ended up going instead of 2G2. I ended up going with 2 from another team instead. But it's okay.
Okay.
So, but like Diha showed up, I like Mondesi as well. So let's look at Mondesi here. Time for some prize picks, Dan.
Oh, prize picks. It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've done some prize picks. We have a lot of interesting ones here, and I think this is really, really interesting. So, again, just know some of these teams are still on a best of 1. So, for example, like Degster, Waxic, Rigon, Fur, Config, Cello, Floppy, Yakindar, all are in best of 1s. So these are just map 1s. I think I'm...
Fur under.
Yeah, I was just looking at that Fur under. I agree with that. Score under.
Sicko under.
I'm sorry, skip over the score. Spanx over. Spanx over
Yep.
39.5.
Yep.
Here's your GPP play for prize picks. It's not safe. Digit over 36.5.
Yep. I agree. Waxic over 16.5.
Waxic over 16.5, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is on here. I'm staring at this Forrester 39.5, Dan.
Oh.
And I don't know what to do with it.
Under.
Versus Sinners? I could see him getting 38. I'll go Forrester under, but it's nothing of a sure play.
He's good. It's just that seems trappy.
It is a trappy kind of line.
Because he is good enough.
Agreed. I just think I'll give him 38.
Yeah, I think there's just too many other good plays.
Yep.
But
so that is
it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I was gonna wrap up the podcast. I was gonna wrap up the podcast. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say what I've been looking for is the third map lines. The
map 3 lines. Okay.
So sometimes they're a little bit low, and usually what happens, if a match goes to 3 maps, typically it's a close bout, and for some reason they're setting the lines too low, and they're like no-brainer overs. Just saying, you kind of have to pay attention to it because they don't always go, and if you want to have a parlay or anything, to make some money, but you got to pay attention. So
for sure.
That's
it. All right, Dan, any last minute thoughts on this slate? We can head out of here.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the CSGO Clutch Podcast. Dan and I will be back for the PGL Antwerp Major Day 3. For Dan, I'm Adam. Good luck on the slate. Latest, peoples.